Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of First and Last. It is spooky month. My name is Josh, and with me today I have Joe.
Hey, man.
And Jimmy.
What is it that is up?
Hello, Jimmy. It is spooky month, and I just thought of a question, actually, for you. Since you are a recent new home buyer.
Oh, yeah?
Do you have...
is it haunted?
Is it haunted?
TBD. Too soon to tell.
Have you...
There's
have
definitely
there been-
questions.
Yeah. Have you heard a noise and thought, I can't explain that right
There
now?
are like handprints on like windows and mirrors and stuff that aren't like my size hand, but you know.
Child size? It's weird.
They're child size and child height. No, they're child size but adult height. That's what's weird.
It's a ghost child with really long legs.
Or it's like three ghost children stacked up on each other.
Wearing a ghost trench coat.
It's just a child circus troupe.
It's like, oh, it's Slender Man. Wait, is that just three ghost babies? Why can't
they're
you
like-
just be ghost babies?
They're like,
Scary enough.
hey Jimmy, boo. And you're like, that's not even, you're a ghost and I'm not even scared.
Oh my god.
Can't even
Did
change
you
your
ever-
own ghost diaper.
Did you have a question?
That was it,
Well-
right?
That was
Yeah,
it.
I mean, the question was, is your house haunted or not?
Oh.
I don't know if, because you two are the homeowners, me not yet, but I was wondering if that's like a weird, like off like kilter like thought you had in your head, like you bought the house and you're about to move in, and then like a day like that night you're like, ah, shit, is this haunted? Like, I hope
Find
not.
out soon enough. I mean, my house was built in 1907, I think. So
Ooh.
that's enough time to rack up some spirits if there are spirits, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like any building built over 100 years ago has to have at least one death to it, right?
Yeah, I mean,
That's
you
the
gotta.
rule.
Odds.
That's the rule. Every 100 years, one human needs to be killed or die within the walls of
Literally.
each building.
Yeah. Mine's not there yet. Mine's the 50s.
Oh, okay. So maybe you guys get to be the people that die in it.
Holy shit.
Maybe someday you'll haunt this house.
What?
Yeah.
One can dream. My
Maybe
God.
maybe you get to be the death
Yeah.
dealer.
Tonight before bed, like, tell your loving wife, like, I picture us living and someday dying and haunting this house. That's how much I love you.
Forever.
How romantic.
This is legitimately our forever home.
And ever. And ever.
My God.
I mean, I live in an old like brownstone like apartment building with like, I don't know, like 10 units. And I mean, it's just been around since at least the early 1900s. People have definitely died here. I'm not 100% sure. There's an old lady, the old lady that used to knock on my door for toilet paper.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
She might have died here this year.
R.I.P.
Like,
She's probably still there.
well, she's not living here, that's for sure. So, but I don't know if she moved out or she died out.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dead.
I guess I don't know the rules of ghosting, but like if I were to be a ghost, like I feel like if I had to choose, if I was able to choose, again, that's what I'm saying. I don't know the rules of ghosting. Like, do you have to haunt places that you've lived? But if I
Sure,
could just
sure.
haunt, like I might try to haunt like a really dope mansion.
Oh, yeah.
Like that seems like there's a lot more space.
That's
I'd
the
wanna
ghost
I'd
job
like
you want to land.
Yeah.
Like haunt the Mall of America or something. You know, you got a lot to see, a
Yeah.
lot to do.
You can ride some rides.
You know, stuff like that. That'd be fun.
Just the ghost of Snoopy is
The
and
ghost
all the
of Camp
Peanuts
Snoopy.
characters. R.I.P.
All right. Well, I guess since no one's haunted, I guess we can move on to the show. Well, I guess first, Joe, what is this podcast about for anybody that thinks it's now
Spooky
just
pod.
talking about spooky talk.
Yeah. Welcome to our spooky month. But typically we just take a TV show and watch the first and the last episode, nothing in between. So sometimes it's like an 8-season show and a lot has changed, and we're pretty shocked by the time we get to the end. And sometimes it's like a 2-season show and like not much has changed, and there's still like a wedding somehow.
And a funeral.
Or it's a 2 to 3 season show, and they thought they had a 4th season, but they got canceled, so nothing is finished. At the
Yeah,
end.
there's like a cliffhanger, and then but the show is actually over. So yeah, we watch the first and last, and it's a good way to soak in a TV show if you don't have an attention span.
We sure don't.
No. It's
Wow,
a
it's
step
just-
up, though, I will say, from just like reading the Wikipedia of a show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
I mean, you get it.
Yeah.
You understand. I feel like it's a good way to understand that you actually might like a show. It's worked so far. Every single show that I've actually watched all the way through since we've done this podcast of shows that we've done, I've actually liked every single show. You know, even Jersey Shore. So
My
Especially-
take that, shove that in your spooky faces. That's the scariest thing I'll say all night.
Best shape of my life.
But Jimmy, for Spooky Month last week, picked Santa Clarita Diet, starring Elliot's little sister from E.T. and the bad guy from Live Free Die Hard, Joe. It's your week to pick a spooky
Spooky
show.
Joe.
What did you pick?
This week I picked the very first series of American Horror Story, Murder House.
Ooh. I didn't know they had names like that.
Yeah. I think they probably started naming them somewhere along the line, and they probably just like retrofit a name on the first season. But yeah, American Horror Story is like an anthology, so every season is different. So we're bending the rules a little bit by not watching the absolute first and absolute last episode of American Horror Story, but we're watching the first and last of this story.
Right, well, yeah, because if we watch season 1, episode 1, and then whatever the last season episode finale was, it would be
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, now they're at a circus?
Yeah,
What?
clowns now?
I think there was. I think there
characters.
was a circus one.
I think there is, yeah.
Ugh.
It's like Murder House, and then Asylum, and then
Ugh.
Coven,
Oh, I'm into that.
Freak Show, which is probably the
I
circus
actually,
one.
Yeah.
I actually started. I think I can't even remember if I finished it. I think it was one of the more recent seasons, season 8 or something like that. It was like 80s slasher essentially. I think it was like one of those like kind of like a sleepaway camp slasher.
Oh, that's
type
cool.
There
80s.
are 8 seasons
scenario.
of this?
I think it was season 8 that I saw, but I'm not
Oh my
100%.
God.
1984 is the ninth season.
That's
Yeah.
the one. I watched that one because I was like, that sounds fun. Because I like just shitty 80s horror movies.
Yeah,
They're
that
fun.
looks cool. I wish I picked that.
Well, I've seen all of that one.
Okay.
So, what I know about this series, well, I guess this first season was 12 episodes long, and it went from October 5th to December 21st, 2011. So that's when this started. But I know that I think her
On
name's
FX.
I think Taisa. I don't know how to say her name, but her last name's Farminga, which is Vera Farminga's little sister is who she is.
Oh.
And she's in things like that movie, the movie about the Irish people,
There
The-
are
the
so
Departed.
many.
The Departed.
The Departed.
Yeah, that one. So Vera Farminga's in that, and Up in the Air and stuff. So she's a pretty solidly giant Hollywood star, and her little sister is in this show, at least in this first season.
Oh, yeah.
Also, Dylan McDermott is in this show.
Dylan McDermott. What's
Yeah.
the other guy that has like a similar name?
Like in the show or just in all of the world?
All of the world. There's Dermot Mulroney,
Are you thinking?
Dylan
Are you thinking that? I thought you were Gillen McDormand. Is that what you're talking about?
There's a really good SNL sketch where it's like a game show called Dylan McDermott or Dermot Mulroney, and like they name a movie or TV show, and you have to guess, is that Dylan McDermott or Dermot Mulroney?
My gosh.
That game's got a shelf life, right? They can only do so much.
Yeah. Spoiler alert for that sketch. The finale question is they pull out one of the actors and they're like, is this Dylan McDermott or Dermot Mulroney?
That's amazing.
Well, I know what Dylan McDermott looks like. I don't know what Dolan McDougal or whatever you said. I don't even know who that guy is, to be honest.
I don't know which one is. One of them is in my best friend's wedding, and then the other one is another guy.
Oh. Oh.
All right.
Doogie McHauser.
We'll never know. All right, back to American Horror Story Murder House.
Back to spooky stuff.
Murder
So what do we
House.
know? What do we know about this at all? Anybody?
I mean, aside from this show, murder house is like a phrase I've said a lot because I used to use it as a term for like a house that's like way too big, like mansion size
Like
house.
a creepy mansion?
Yeah, like a creepy mansion where like the only reason you would need a house that big is so you can have like a soundproof room somewhere in the middle
Have
where you can
murder.
murder someone and like no one would ever know. That's what I
Okay.
had called a murder
Yeah.
house. So I mean, that makes me assume that this is about some sort of giant mansion that has ghosts.
I mean, I assume it's obviously like, yeah, some sort of giant mansion, and then it's like plans, like that plantation style mansion with the big columns in the front, and it's not like
on columns.
it's not in like a cul-de-sac. It's somewhere on top of a hill, probably. You know,
Okay.
It's slightly out in the country, or maybe just right outside of town, but on top of the hill, far enough away that even if someone screams really loud from the middle of the murder house room, that even someone walking by, people don't walk by. It's out of the way.
No trick-or-treaters.
Yeah. I mean, I would guess. Also, I guess if people somehow don't understand American Horror Story or just are in the know, American Horror Story is essentially an anthology series that every single season is a completely different story. And that's why we're doing it like this. It's just like how we watch Power Rangers. Whereas, because Power Rangers itself is, sadly enough, an anthology series.
Yeah. An anthology horror series.
Yeah, but this one's, yeah. And so I think I kind of assume, I hear murder house, I think a very typical horror movie scenario where a family, for whatever reason, gets a really good deal and moves into a big house, you know? But something's wrong.
Maybe it's like inherited from a like eccentric aunt or something.
I'm
Oh, your
picturing
old Nana Gretchen died, and she left you this entire house.
that she's haunting. I'm picturing straight up the movie The Haunting with Liam Neeson and Catherine Zeta-Jones,
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
where it's just like a like Baroque castle-looking mansion, and there's for some reason like a hall of mirrors and like weird shit like that going on, and ghosts.
Cool. Never-ending
I'm
staircases.
hoping for floating stuff.
Definitely secret rooms, right? It's
yeah.
There's gotta be secret rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And like booby traps. I got predictions.
You guys ever? This is sideways, but like, you guys ever been to a house on? I think it's called a House on the Rock in like, it's like west of Madison in Wisconsin.
No.
I've never been to it, but I think I've heard of it.
It's
Can you get into detail for me?
yeah, it's weird. So it starts out as, what's the name of that that architect that he incorporated nature a lot in his homes?
Frank Lloyd Wright.
Yes, Frank Lloyd Wright.
That's the only architect I could name at all. So if it wasn't him, neither one of us probably would have gotten it.
Yeah, so it's not a Frank Lloyd Wright house, but this house was designed by a similar architect who kind of like used his style somewhat. So it's a house on top of a cliff on a rock, and like that part's kind of cool. But over the years, like this place has evolved into like not only like is there just this house, but there's also like a warehouse connected to it, and it's like a museum, but it's just a museum of weird shit. Like there's like giant like musical instruments built out of like weird parts, and there's like a bunch of like scary dolls. There's like a giant like plaster whale. And then at the end there's like an indoor carousel with like mannequins on it. It's a lot of like weird horror movie stuff, but it's not intended to be scary. Like it's just
Are you sure?
eccentric rich guy like wanted to build a weird museum.
Yeah, because if you told me all of this like you are currently, I'm thinking this is weird and scary. I don't want to go there. Well, I do want to go there.
Yeah,
it sounds like
I went there like last summer or the summer before, and it was super weird, like very unsettling. Of like, who like spent the money on this like just junk?
Given the opportunity, would you have spent the night there?
Maybe. I mean, like the house part of it is cool. Once you get to the weird museum, it's like very dusty.
I've always been a little weirded out about our like just question why the paranormal or whatever always has to happen at night. You know, why are ghostly things predominant at night?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a real thing? If ghosts are real, I guess, or whatever, is that a actual real thing, or is it just like humans' inherent like fear of the night because we can't see very well, so therefore then you say ghosts happen at night? Because like, why can't you haunt at noon? You know,
Maybe they do, but we're just like, hustling about and we just don't really notice.
Too much stuff going on.
Yeah, Jimmy, let
like
us know.
making lunch
Maybe your
over
house
here.
is. maybe your house is haunted at around the noon hour. Are you home these days around noon?
I mean, yeah. Working from home, taking care of this little puppy. God, she's a handful.
Yeah, tiny pups will do that to you.
Tiny puppies
Be
with
handfuls.
mouths full of razor blades right now.
Like she has sharp teeth, is what you're saying?
Yeah, puppy teeth, and like they're teething and they nip, and you gotta like teach them to not do that. But I'm just bleeding
Just constantly bloody.
a lot. We gotta actually probably keep this moving tonight because I'm losing a lot of blood here.
So before we go, I guess before we jump into the first episode, I don't know, Joe or Jimmy, do you guys have any thoughts about what's going to happen, or kind of anyone want to dare walk us through the first episode?
If we're going with it's a family moving in, I would say that this is like, their first night and things are getting weird, and maybe, there's some skeptics in the family of like, no, this is totally fine. But then by the end, everyone's like, this is haunted. We need to solve it. For some reason, they didn't need to solve it instead of just moving out.
Okay.
I think we walk into just immediately murders. I think maybe show opens up and the whole family that lives there has been murdered, and then like minute like 10 through whatever is that the new family is moving in, and then they get murdered, and then every episode is just a new family moving in and getting murdered in different ways.
I would eat that up. That'd be hilarious. My God. I'm gonna go with its typical horror movie tropes. I feel like this is season 1 of this show, and they said like, you know what? We're gonna do a ghost house or something like that. Family moves in to a big old house that they either got on the cheap or they inherited from Nana Gretchen.
Mm-hmm.
And then most likely also like, we find out maybe at some point in the first episode that something's weird with the family, like they had a daughter that died like 2 years ago and like 6 months ago, and the family's been weird since then, that kind of stuff.
Weird.
So she was never there.
Yeah, and then eventually you find out
like
that
it.
she's a ghost and she's haunting them. That's the finale. So something like that. But I feel like that's the reasoning. The family needed a change of scenery, essentially, because there's turmoil within the family, and then they somehow landed this giant house, either through inheritance or just like super good deal. And both of those lead to a haunting. Or a murder, I guess a murder. I keep thinking haunting, but it's called Murder House. It's not called Haunting House.
It could straight up be, what's that Saw movie that's where they're just all trapped in the house and they're trying to get out?
I think that's Saw 2.
Saw. No.
I think it's the second one.
It could just be that. When did that come out?
Every single episode, they play a game.
I love playing games.
We'll figure it out. All right. We got to get our... Let's do this before Jimmy bleeds out. We're going to go to the first episode of American Horror Story, Murder House. And unfortunately, it's called Pilot. So, screw you guys. We'll see you after we finish that episode. And we're back. We're done with the first episode of American Horror Story called Pilot. Jimmy, do you have a write-up?
Sure.
Okay.
It's not... I'll just read it. This is from IMDb from Gary KMCD. Vivian and Ben Harmon and their daughter Violet relocate to Los Angeles from Boston by a very large old house. As required by law, the real estate agent discloses that the previous occupants were the victims of a murder-suicide. The Harmons think nothing of it and concentrate on repairing their marriage that has come under strain following Vivian's miscarriage and Ben's subsequent infidelity with one of his students. Ben is a psychiatrist and meets his patients in the house. Meets his patient that we saw. They meet their neighbors, the eccentric Constance and her daughter Adelaide, and Vivian hires a housekeeper, Moira, but Ben and Vivian don't quite see the same person when they look at her. And Violet is bullied at school and befriends one of their dad's patients, who has serious psychological problems, and then strange events occur.
Right?
So, yeah.
Strange events do occur. I mean, hey, right away, I think that this first episode of this show has essentially the great building blocks of like a scary TV show, or like, like this 51 minutes would have been the first 20 minutes of a movie if you're watching a scary movie. And it just threw out all these weird things, like obviously like weird neighbor daughter, and then even weirder neighbor mom. Like they just keep walking into their house, like they're being creepy. That's good enough almost already. You've got old housekeeper who is old to mom, but then to dad is like this like French like this redheaded like a French maid like housekeeper like hottie.
Yeah.
And
who neighbor
and then
Constance at one point says, "Don't make me kill you again."
Yeah. Who
So
now
maybe
is
she's-
like a ghost or something or whatever,
Something.
Obviously there was something weird with her because she was old to one person and like young to another, so that's already different. Something's up with the boy who's getting therapy. His name was Tate.
Yeah. Evan Peters
up.
is the X-Men Quicksilver. Something's
yeah.
definitely going on with him.
Yeah, weird shit's going on with there. Obviously there's problems with the husband and the wife, so that's like kind of the driver of why they went here. The daughter's obviously kind of messed up. She gets in fights and she cuts herself.
But there is also so let's back up. The very first scene, which the description didn't mention, was that it starts in 1978, and Adelaide is there as a young girl, the neighbor daughter, which already doesn't make sense because she'd be like in her 30s and she looks like she's in her late teens. But maybe she looks.
I guess, it said today. It didn't say what the year was. Did they ever actually say
it said
year?
Present day, but the show
so it would have been
2011.
Yeah.
11.
Yeah. Yeah, it did say today, so I guess I would take that to be whenever the show was, so 2011.
That's
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there was any
you would
technology or something.
Not really, but
yeah.
but nothing that would say older anyway, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I suppose so. She has Down syndrome, and she may be 30. We just don't, It's tough to just like tell. But where was I going with that whole thing? So she warns two twin boys that go into this house, which is at this point like abandoned, that they're gonna die if they go in there. And
You're
of
gonna
course
die
they
in
do.
here.
Of course.
And they got killed. They got killed by like what I described as a big baby man.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't really describe what that looks like. It's got sharp teeth.
But it was like bald, and it kind of looked like a
it was
male,
wearing a
but it
gown.
also was baby-esque, right?
Like it was wearing some sort of gown.
Wow. It happened so fast. How did you guys even get all of that even? It's amazing.
Me and Joe pay a lot of attention to the backgrounds in horror movies. So,
Yeah.
But so that makes sense to me. So when the kids are going in there, she says, "You're going to regret it." And that plays like over and over and over. So when Vivian catches Ben, when they're still in Boston, like catches him in the act, she cuts his arm, and then you hear the little girl's voice, "You're going to regret it." So I don't know if there's like already something weird going on, some weird connection already. Somehow.
oh yeah, I guess I didn't even.
If that's
I thought that was just maybe, just a weird, creepy thing.
just freaky
I feel
editing.
like I could write off. Yeah, I feel like I could write off some of these things as like creepy editing. Just like, ooh, it's spooky, and then some of the things are like, oh, this is plot. But I don't know. I just thought, I thought that it just gave me so many spooky tendrils to kind of like latch onto that I was like, okay, I can be into this because now there's like a spooky mystery. Because I feel like that's when scary movies are the best, is when there's so many different things you're like unsure of. And this, I think it did a good job of giving me a lot, but not maybe too many to be ridiculous. Do you agree with that, Joe?
What was that again? That is like enough spooky to like get you going, but not like overwhelming.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I mean, and especially with like a first episode, you don't want to just like blow it all right away, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's going to be weirder stuff. Oh, we didn't even say the other weird one is that, like, Vivian, who I guess we'll get these characters in a sec, but Vivian, the wife, she definitely had relations with not the husband.
Yeah.
Because we even saw also in the beginning, they showed him specifically throwing out that bodysuit. Like, he went in the garbage and he threw it out.
Yeah.
And then later she had intercourse with somebody who was wearing that.
Yeah. So they
But was
find
that just something that she was seeing, or like?
Yeah. Oh, well, also, who knows? I mean, there's another.
Yeah, that's true. But it did lead you to believe. So Vivian finds this like gimp suit thing in the attic, which you'd think you'd like clean that out.
You'd think that they would like look in the attic before they like sign the papers. Like, well, let's just like look around. Did they
That's
do an
true.
inspection at
Yeah.
all?
Who's in charge here? So she tells him to throw it out. Apparently, you see Ben throwing it in the trash, and then he's been sleepwalking. So that night, then just a dude who's it seemed clear to me from the beginning this is not Ben standing in her doorway with a gimp suit. That's terrifying. And he's not talking, and that's weird. And they're trying to, repair their marriage, so they're trying to get weird, I guess. But then she's like seeing like a naked Ben on top of her, even though like she knows she saw him originally in the gimp suit. So like she's got to know something weird is up already. She's like, her mind's gone. Ben is naked, walking through the house, lighting fires.
Yeah. Oh, well, and then fires. There's some like burned up guy who like said he burned his whole family up. His name was Larry. Okay.
Larry, yeah.
And he like was
Dennis
creeping around a
O'Hare.
little bit.
He's
And then
been in
he
lots of
warned Ben, you're gonna like something bad's gonna happen. But then he like smiled weird when he left, as if like his plan is like coming to, did you see him like smile weird after they had a
no.
conversation?
Yeah, I missed that.
I feel like, he like, after they
Smirked?
talked in the park or whatever, and then Ben left, like that guy like smirked weird, and he
God.
seemed pleased with himself, and like I would say the interaction didn't go well for him, like if he was trying to actually warn them and make them be safe.
Yeah.
I don't think it happened.
Just no one's on this family's side at this point.
Did we talk
Exactly.
about who Larry is?
No. Just by the fact that he's the dude that was lurking around, and he's the burn guy that.
Yeah. So, but like he said that like he used to live there and like burnt up his family.
Yeah. Inside that house, which is apparently
Yeah.
still standing and fine.
And he's
Yeah,
somehow out of
because-
jail because of brain cancer.
That's not a thing, right?
Yeah.
That if you're in jail forever because you murdered your whole family,
Yeah.
and then you get brain cancer, they don't just let you out of jail.
Yeah. You just
you
have brain
probably-
cancer in prison.
You then die in jail.
Yeah.
I
I mean, you probably could get transferred to like some sort of like
a hospital. yeah.
Mm-hmm.
situation, but like not where you'd be unattended and just leave, I wouldn't assume, but
Which makes me think that like that guy's lying. Like maybe that guy's a ghost. Like
ooh, why not?
maybe he's a ghost and he knows it, or maybe he just doesn't even know, because he was saying like he's like, oh yeah, 70% of my body's burnt up, and like I don't know how I put out the fire, it's just kind of like a dream. And so maybe he actually died there and doesn't know.
I mean, because it also, like, when it showed the scene of him, like, burning down, like, the bedroom, essentially, and he poured gasoline all over the place, I'm like, this house would be burnt down in, like, 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like, there was no putting out the fire, I don't think,
Yeah.
in this house.
Right.
Not at all. So should
Who's
we
to
do, let's do family roll call, I guess, really quick, just so we, so there's Ben, the husband,
Yeah. Dylan McDermott.
and that's, and Vivian, the wife.
Connie Britton. Go back and
Yeah,
listen
and
to our
she-
Friday Night Lights pod.
She's in Nashville, too, isn't she?
Oh, and Nashville, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably something else.
I wrote Nashville lady, so I remember her being in Nashville.
All right.
So I hope that's true. And then there's Violet, the daughter, who's Tiza Formiga, which is Vera's little sister. And then there's
Wait, Vera is that's the what was the show we did for Spooky Month
Bates Motel.
before? Yeah, that's that lady, right?
Bates Motel. Yeah, that's her.
Okay. Sorry, keep going.
Yep. And then Adelaide. So every Spooky Month we have to just keep a member of the Formiga family in now. It's Adelaide, and she is the daughter of the neighbor next door. She's the girl that says you're gonna die in here.
Yeah. That's
And
her
then
tagline.
Constance. Yeah, Constance is her mom, and that's Jessica Lange.
Yeah.
And Jessica Lange was in like King Kong, wasn't she?
She
Or
was
is that?
in a lot of things.
Yeah, she
she's
was.
like a
big.
big-
She's big back in her day for sure. And then there's Tate, the kid who's going for. He's the one seeing the dad.
The psychiatrist.
Yeah, he's seeing dad's psychiatrist, so he's that boy.
Got issues, and he's like talking about how he's having like nightmares of shooting up the school or something. And then he's hanging out with the daughter.
He's not being a cool dude is really what.
And he seems like he turns
being the
into
greatest.
ghouls too. I'm not really sure.
I don't know. Yeah, he had like a weird thing with Violet and this girl from school who's like picking on Violet, who like he was like, yeah, bring her over here and we'll just scare her. But then they brought her to the basement and it was like I feel like it was the demon thing or the man baby thing that killed the twins was there.
Oh, was it?
And
the same thing?
And then like and someone like cut the girl's face. Like her face was cut.
Oh, God.
And he was there, and so then Violet told him to like get out of there and like she never wants to see him again or something like that.
It's like things got weird. I thought we were just gonna yell at her.
Yeah, exactly. And then what was his name? Larry. He was the guy that was the burn guy who presumably burned his family alive in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one was Moira, the old housekeeper / hot lady for the husband.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Yeah. Who's apparently dead.
Yeah,
and she's flirting with
presumably
Ben
dead
to get
for
him
sure.
to like be bad.
I mean, I guess if you're dead, aren't you just like, I mean, by that time you're just like, oh, let's just fuck with people. So she's got nothing better to do, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
It's a nice house to haunt.
It seems like she's haunting the house. She's saying that she's like always been the housekeeper.
Yeah. And maybe she has.
And maybe she has.
Maybe she has. So yeah, I liked it. I'm into this. What are your guys' thoughts?
I'm excited to watch the last because it is spooky as shit. And so I don't know if I could go through the whole thing in the basement by myself where I currently am, but excited to do the last one. I'm into the like Fight Club, like subliminal, like quick edit.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird
stuff
quick
that's
edits
going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Fight Club, like quick things, but like times 100 and scary. And
yeah, it is. I thought those quick edits almost made me think of like YouTube videos in a way. Like people when like he was talking and like the screen would get like it would zoom in when he was emphasizing stuff.
Yeah.
And that's like quick cuts that you would see on like YouTubers videos stuff. Yeah.
There's even a part where he was like jogging outside and it just cut to like 5 seconds later and he's like still jogging. But it was just like just enough that it's like he's jogging here, now he's jogging slightly ahead. Which
But
I
it
think
made
is
it
just to
it made it weirder.
Yeah, I think exactly that. Just like, whoa, he's jogging and it's still weird.
Yeah. So creepiest way to watch someone jog is 5-second cuts at a time.
Yeah.
One after each other. Oh, and there's one other thing I suppose is that so since Vivian they had sex and she told Ben that she was like pregnant at the end.
oh yeah.
So I mean, I guess I would presume that it was from weird bondage man.
Gimpy. Well, so they did like show Ben and Vivian getting steamy like earlier in the afternoon, and then they kind of cut to the night. So
yeah, I mean, so who knows what it is, but you know, I just wanted to put that down because it might have some stuff about my predictions. So
Okay.
Oh, God.
So I mean, so all in all, based on this, I'm ready to watch the second episode. Jimmy, you're ready to watch the finale, so you don't have to be too spooked. I've heard a lot of shit talk about American Horror Story, like in the past. I mean, maybe like season 4 or 5 when it was, you know, well known by everybody, and how it wasn't that great, but kind of thing. I've heard more negative, I think, than positive, but at the moment, I'm positive at least about this season right now.
Nice.
Who wants to start with their predictions?
I can go.
Do it.
So I think That at the end of this, both parents die, but the daughter survives. I'm just gonna
Okay.
put my survivals all in one prediction.
Nice.
Yeah, I think the daughter makes it out okay, but the parents die. I think that the house gets burned down, but somehow gets rebuilt like almost immediately. Like it's fine,
Oh,
even though we like see it get burned down
interesting.
because it's a spooky
I have-
house.
I have one half of
Yeah.
that prediction coming up.
You just it just says the house gets. And then,
Yeah.
you know,
You think it like
Choose your own adventure.
explodes within it?
There was a lot of allusions to fire in this first episode of just clearly the stuff where
Yeah.
Ben's like touching a lot of fire stuff, but even with the daughter like smoking, that's like a little light reference to fire. So I think in that spirit, I think there's like a grilling scene where they're like making burgers and hot dogs on the grill.
All right.
Little like
The old hot dog bet. I like it.
yeah, hot
Charcoal
dogs
grill.
are back, but in grill form. And then for my last one, there's a part where so like Adelaide, who's like the neighbor kid, like keeps showing up in the house, just like kind of letting herself in and saying creepy stuff. And then there's a scene where Vivian is telling her like, I don't want you in my house. Do not come into my house. And Adelaide keeps saying like, but can I pet your dog? Can I pet your dog? So I think by the end here, Adelaide gets to pet the dog. I think that's a little happy ending there where
Feel good story.
she finally gets to pet the dog.
And then she murders it.
Who knows?
Dear Lord.
I love it.
All right. Okay, I'll do mine now. So my first one is I think there's a weird ass baby.
Little weird baby. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like I have reservations to call it a monster baby,
Okay.
you know?
Is this based on the thing that you described and saw in the beginning?
No, it's based on the fact that I feel like Vivian didn't have sex with Ben.
Oh,
She had
oh,
sex with like a ghoul bondage man, and now she says she's pregnant. So I think that she has like a weird monster ghoul baby or something.
All right.
We'll know when we see it.
Cool.
I think Tate is a ghost. I don't think
Okay.
he's a real person. Because we only saw him in the house. We never saw him at school or
Oh.
anything.
Yeah, he said he
Um,
got thrown out of the school.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Likely
Likely.
story for a ghost.
Right.
Just turns
I
out
think-
everyone's a ghost.
Yeah, everyone's a ghost. I think Adelaide's a ghost, Violet's a ghost, Constance's a ghost.
That
No.
dog's a ghost.
Dog's a ghost for sure. No, so my third one is I think Adelaide tells someone that they're going to die.
Okay.
Or like duh, I told you were gonna die. Like she says, she definitely references someone's going to die.
Still on that grind.
Yeah. And then my last one is I think Violet burns down the house.
Okay.
Ooh.
So I think the house burns
Just
down
like
and
on
stays
accident
burnt
'cause
down.
she's smoking. She learns. A
I don't
valuable
care how
lesson.
I don't care how she does it. I just want her to burn it down. Those are mine.
We hope you quit, Violet.
Get
My number one spooky spaghetti prediction is that everybody dies. I don't even think Violet makes it out of this.
You mean like the
Just
whole
everybody.
family, or just like the family?
Yeah, I mean, I mean the family.
Just
Um,
the world ends in the last
yeah.
episode.
Number two, I just wrote weird sex because there's there's just a lot of weird. There's a big part of this pilot. There's a lot of weird, spooky sexuality, and I think we get more of the same.
All right.
Number three, I think
Joe's in.
Yeah.
Joe did a lot of research on anyway. I think like Josh said, there's just like a lot of things out there, a lot of mysteries and stuff, and I think that nothing is explained. I think we're left hanging on what this all was.
Oh, that would make me so sad.
Yeah. Especially like when the next season comes around, you're like, what the hell? It's none of the same stuff.
Now they're at a
Like,
circus?
you're
Why?
like waiting a whole off season for them to explain. Okay, number 4. I think Adelaide is telling a new family that they're gonna die.
Oh, a new
Just
family.
a
Right?
separate family.
New family moving in. You're gonna die.
You guys also gonna die.
Don't go in there. Seriously though. How many times can I say it?
All right. Is that we good? We
Yeah.
done?
Yeah.
All right. So let's do it. Let's watch the last episode of American Horror Story : Murder House. The last episode is
Apostrophe.
called Afterbirth. Is what the last episode is called.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
Cool,
so
cool,
let's-
cool, cool.
So let's we're gonna get to it and watch it, and we'll see you after that. Probably joy of an episode. So see you then. We are complete with the finale of American Horror Story. It was called Afterbirth, which is a gross title. Jimmy, do you have
Say
a
it.
write-up?
Say it more times.
Afterbirth.
Oh god. Ben is mourning following Vivian's death and plans to take his own life. Constance is taking care of the newborn, but Ben wants him back so the child can be raised by his sister. Vivian and Violet purposely avoid him, and he could only see them if they choose to allow it, thinking that they don't want to give him any reason to stay in the house. Hayden has her own plans, however, for Ben, and his spirit soon joins that of his now dead wife and daughter. So, meaning she killed him? People killed him? Ghosts? I don't know. When the house is sold, a new family moves in, and the Harmons ensure that they don't fall into the same trap that they did. The end. and so much more. So confused.
I mean, yeah. So the episode started off with 9 months ago when it was like they were in their old house and he was like trying to convince Ben was trying to convince Vivian to move to the new house or to at least look at it because they were having super big problems. And that was just kind of like a little prequel before the episode, and then they get into the episode, and apparently everybody's dead,
Yeah.
except for Ben and the baby.
Mm-hmm.
But the baby, he goes to pick it up at like Constance's, and Constance says like she wants to keep the baby because it should be hers, because it's like her grandson or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tate also said later that he raped his wife.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's confirmation that like Tate was the guy
Was the
in the
father.
gimp suit.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is the guy in the
Yeah.
game suit and therefore the father of the baby that they were pregnant with in the first episode.
Yeah. And like Tate is definitely a ghost because even like Constance said in the last episode that Tate has been dead longer than he was alive now.
Yeah. Fun fact.
So he's definitely been dead for at least 9 months then, because he's like 17 or 16 or something like that. Also that
Right.
apparently like Tate is Constance's son was a thing that we learned.
Mm-hmm.
At least we learned in this episode. You probably learned it before that, but
I'm sure.
we learned that. My biggest thing, we're just getting into like what ghost rules right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is that these ghosts seem to be just completely regular people, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
They can interact with any part of the physical world that they want. They can touch and grab and control things, and obviously apparently even bang and impregnate
they have
living
sperm.
people. Yeah.
Ghost sperm.
They have some sort of living ghost sperm, right?
Spectre sperm.
But I don't know. Maybe I guess it seems like they just can't leave the house. Like that's the only rule that they live by.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they don't have to eat or anything either. So in a way, they have it like pretty good. But it just seems like now there's like a bunch of generations of like dead people that just like live in this house.
Mm-hmm.
Did we ever see because there was a gay couple that lived in before it that Tate said he killed, who had died, and that's why these guys moved in the first episode.
I don't think we saw them.
I don't think maybe they're never in the show. I don't know. It seemed weird that they keep mentioning them and they just like, what, they didn't get ghosts? Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope they have an episode. But we did see Moira, the caretaker person, the maid's ghost self outside in the yard in the pilot, so maybe they can stay on the estate. I don't know.
Yeah, they can be on the grounds
Yeah.
of the estate, but not off of it. So I don't know. Those are rules. But then we're also going with after there's a ghost, half human baby or something.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah. So
the rules are out
it's
the window.
3 years later, and so now the kid is 3, the baby is 3, and he was like blonde like Tate. So we're just led to believe that the baby's half human, half psycho ghost.
Right?
And so he's just murdering. He murders the nanny while Constance is getting her hairs did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Weird. It's weird. I can be okay with like the ghosts having like full corporeality.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
that they can grab anything and do whatever they want, and then also be in and out of like reality, and people can't see them when they want to, and blah blah blah. But I think the minute a ghost impregnates a human person, like a live human person, I think I need more explanation. Maybe they gave it. Maybe they gave it.
Demon sperm.
Demon sperm. That's all I needed to hear.
There was a quick like in the like previously on almost in the open of Vivian's like pregnant belly and a definitely like a demon claw like on the inside moving around.
Ugh, yeah, I did see that. I didn't like that at all. I don't like that. I don't like it when I don't like it in horror movies when faces and hands come through walls. You know, when they like push on the wall and they come out, kind of thing. I don't like it when they do it, especially in a woman's pregnant belly. I don't.
That's my.
I'm just not into it. I'm not into it.
I was reading some background on the like Harmon kids and Tate and all that, and apparently what happens is that there's twins. Actually, she's pregnant with twins, and
okay.
Tate is the father of one, but like not the other.
Oh.
But the one he's the dad of is the one that
is alive.
Dead?
Yeah, so one of the babies is stillborn like during childbirth, and then the other one lives. And the one that lives is Tate's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the one that is Dylan McDermott's dies.
Right, so that's why we had that one as like a ghost towards the end.
Also, then, yeah, because that ghost baby's there. Like,
yeah.
I'm under the assumption, and maybe I'm just jumping to. I put down my jumping to conclusions, Matt, and I had a good old hop, but like, a ghost baby can't grow up, right? Like that's just a fucking crying baby forever.
Yeah, I think so. I think you stay the same age.
Because if not, then like Moira and all these other people would be like rotting dead. Whatever.
Yeah, so I think it's just a forever ghost baby.
Yeah.
That's a shame. that's not something you can't just take care of a ghost baby
Yeah,
forever,
the
right?
least fun ghost, I guess.
Yeah.
You don't have to like really feed it, or probably doesn't like go to the bathroom, you know.
No, it probably doesn't do those things, but what it does do is just wail and cry constantly.
Well,
you know,
she said,
and like, and forever.
That it was a very good baby, and now it
She
all
said-
makes sense because
I mean, she said that, but she did find it in the last episode because it was crying so loudly in the basement. She heard it from like
Yeah.
upstairs.
So what was the whole deal with that? So she found it with Nora Montgomery.
Oh, Mrs. Montgomery?
Mrs.
Yeah, I don't know who that.
So
Somebody else that died in this house, apparently, I would assume.
yeah.
Yeah, just everybody is a ghost.
I read something about the like origins is that like her and her husband, like her husband was performing abortions in the basement, and that's what like the jars of junk is from in the very first scene in the pilot. And that's like what the like crazy thing we saw in the pilot was. Some sort of weird baby clown monster. I don't know.
So it was a baby.
I guess, but it was like an adult, so I don't really.
Yeah.
I guess it's grown.
Cool. Fun fact.
Yeah, and then some murders ensued, and then a boyfriend found out about an abortion, and so he went and stole the Montgomery's baby and like killed it, and then the Dr. Montgomery freaked out and like tried to revive the baby by like using fetus parts or something, and that's why it's a monster now. Just chills in the basement.
Cool.
Yeah, you know.
First and last and Wikipedia.
Yeah. Wiki fandom.
Well, I mean, what did you guys think of it then? Did it seem like a horror or scary, spooky show that you might be into then?
I think it's kind of a bummer that it turns out that everyone's ghosts by the end. Like, even the main characters, they're all just ghosts.
It almost ends happy.
Yeah. And it kind of loses the spooky when it's just like, hey, yep, we're all just ghosts now. We all just don't die, and we're here.
Yeah.
Let's get the chill.
Yeah, I got a weird like, oh, he just got killed. And then I was like, oh, but he's like pretty okay with it, I think, now. He's like with his wife and daughter forever.
Yeah.
And like that's what he wanted and he was sad about, and
yeah.
And then like
it was sad while they were separate, while he was alive and they were dead. That was sad.
Yeah. And then because the whole point is they were trying to get him out of the house so he wouldn't die and like stay there with him. And then like the people that are like, it didn't even seem like the people that were being like bad ghosts, like Tate, and I guess, I mean, whoever that like that girl was who
Kate Mara
with her, like Kate Mara, and those two random dudes that were also just like ghosts with her, like murdered the dude. Like those four people are like evil bad ghosts that could like, it's just like you could live in this house and just be tormented forever because you'd be fighting with all these other ghosts.
Yeah.
And it seems like even then those ghosts are just like, well, we're going to stay in the other room while they have Christmas at the end.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, what? Now you just leave each other alone and like everyone's happy? Except for the bad people, because then they're sad? That seemed weird.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of a cool idea to have, because we do see like another new family move in, and and like they're having like a grand old time like living in this new house, and the Harmon family, they're thinking like, oh, like if they have a baby in this new house, it's just gonna like perpetuate the suffering. So they scare them out of the house, and I think that's kind of an interesting idea that like they're ghosts and they're scaring people that move into this house, but it's for like the purpose of preventing like actual bad things from happening. It's kind of a interesting idea.
Got the gimp suit back out.
Yeah.
It's great.
So yeah, you figure they're just gonna continually like scare people out of the house, but only because like they just know it's like a bad place for a family. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, up until right now, that realtor was like making a killing, right? Like,
just constantly turning over that house.
yeah.
I mean, I suppose, but she's making less and less each time, you know.
Yeah, but if you're making, but you don't like flip a house as fast as she's been flipping. She sold it once and then sold it again in 9 months to that family.
Yeah, good point.
So like even that small amount's probably pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Also, she's not like ever losing money. It's not like she's buying the house and then, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, she's just making money off of every transaction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was kind of surprised that the realtor never gave us like
job.
never gave us a inkling that she was like onto it, that she understood that this house was like super fucked up.
She's alive, right?
Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah.
Like the only non-ghost character in the show.
Yeah. I think so. I think so, really.
Her and
Yeah.
Constance, maybe.
Yeah, Constance lives.
Oh, and Adelaide wasn't in this episode at all.
Yeah.
No.
I wonder if she
So
died.
Yeah,
Well,
she might
I
have
guess-
been dead.
I guess even if she died, we probably would have seen her as a ghost or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe she died, but just not in the house, and therefore she's not a ghost.
She's
But
just
she is
haunting
dead.
a 7-Eleven somewhere.
Oh God, what if we just find out that this world is just, if you die you're a ghost. It's like The Walking Dead.
I like
Just a ghost of wherever you were.
Yeah. I read a thing somewhere that the creators of the show wanted to have people from the first season come. God, where did I just read this?
like haunt some other seasons.
Yeah, okay, here he goes. He confirmed that he wanted one of the Murder House characters to be moved into the final season of Coven, which I don't know what season that was.
Mm-hmm.
So he wanted to merge the stories of Murder House and Coven, and I think Coven's at least a couple seasons on because it's not the second season.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently it got moved, and it was initially announced that the crossover season would be taking place in the 9th season, but in June 2018 the crossover was moved to the 8th season, titled Apocalypse. So apparently, if you watch the 8th season of this show, there is some sort of tie-in to the first season.
I do like the idea that that this is all the same universe, at least
Mm-hmm.
somehow.
And then they show it, which is cool. Yeah. So that's fun.
I was thinking about this finale, like, yeah, it was weird, just kind of we're all happy ghosts now. And then like the just kind of unceremonious killing of Ben just so suddenly. But I was reading that the producers of this show also were producers on Glee, and that like took off, obviously. And so then they like quick had to like ditch a whole nother episode of this show and then write a finale like in this episode. So it may not have been exactly what they intended, but they just kind of shelled something out because they needed to go get back to work on Glee.
Huh. Interesting.
That's cool. Good for them. They're crushing it.
Yeah, and then they did several more seasons of this. So
Yeah. I feel like all in all, this season could potentially be like a good spooky show. Easy 12 episodes to watch during November or October. Which month is spooky? October. So I'm pro this. I'm gonna give this a thumbs up.
Nice.
New rating system.
2 spooky thumbs.
These spooky thumbs are all the way up.
I do like the idea of Kate Mara in the series. She's in House of Cards. She was Sue Storm in the most recent terrible Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah.
But she's great.
Nice.
She's
Joe?
spooky.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I am a little bummed out again by like just everybody becoming ghosts by the end.
Right. Yeah. It seems like a little bit of a cop out.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping to see them like either fight off the ghosts or something instead of just joining the ghosts. But I bet there's a bunch of weird stuff to unpack like throughout. It seems like there's a lot of reveals and stuff. Granted, a lot of those reveals are going to be, I'm a ghost.
Yeah.
But I think I'm generally along for the ride. I could see myself watching this. Spooky month after all.
Yeah. Tis the season. Yeah, I'm not watching this in like January, but like tis the season, you know.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's get into our predictions.
Word.
Joe, you went first, so you should also go first again.
Yeah, I had a good feeling about this stuff, but I don't think any of it paid off. Because I said that both parents die, but the daughter survives, which is not true.
She did.
Yeah. Then like the first scene they explain already that Violet's dead. I'm just like, oh man. The house gets burned down, but somehow it gets rebuilt. We didn't see that. I said there was a grilling scene. It seems like they're completely over the whole fire references, so there's no grilling either.
No.
And that Adelaide gets to pet the dog, and we didn't see Adelaide at all. So the dog was there, but
yeah.
yeah.
Which is fun.
Yeah. So yeah, no points for me.
That's a bummer.
Mm-hmm.
I said there was weird monster baby type thing, and I'm gonna say that's right. It was a Tate ghost baby.
I mean, it was a baby.
It murdered people.
There was a toddler that murdered.
Well, I mean, we're confirmed that baby was a weird ass monster baby. That's
because it's half ghost.
Yeah, right. I didn't know if it was gonna look like a man bat or anything, but like, it was definitely not a regular thing.
No, ain't no regular baby.
No, that's for sure.
You did say that Vivian it was gonna be Vivian's birthing some atrocity. So I guess I'll give it to you.
Yeah,
sure.
Thank you. Tate is a ghost. That is definitely true.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
My third one was Adelaide tells someone they're going to die. She wasn't involved in this episode at all. And then my fourth one was that Violet burns down the house, and house was not burnt down. She was actually a dead ghost. So
No. She was pretty cool.
But, yeah, she was great.
She saved Gabriel's life.
2 points. I'm taking 2 points.
The kid and one of the family members. Tate, we didn't talk about that. Tate sees Violet like hanging out with this new kid in the house who's moved in, and then he like freaks out and is gonna kill Gabriel so that he can be Violet's boyfriend, which is totally normal thing to do.
For sure.
So I had my number one was that the family is dead, and they're dead. So that worked out.
Nailed it.
Not in the way at all that I hoped. Then I said weird sex, and I would like to take that point because Gabriel, or not Gabriel, the parents, they're
Ben.
like getting smoochy. No,
the
Ramoses?
Ramones or Ramoses.
The Romases. They're
the
like
new family that moved in.
new families like boning on the kitchen counter, and the ghosts are just having a conversation while they do it, and it was very uncomfortable. And then Moira like walks in and she's just on the other side talking over them. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
I
ghosts just watch you do it all the time.
oh man.
Yeah, dude. Every time you've done it, a ghost has watched you do it.
Oh, that's unnerving, I guess. I don't like that at all. So do I get that?
Or just weird sex because there's ghosts watching. Sure.
I mean, it was
generous.
weird. It was weird. Yeah.
All right. I said nothing is explained, and I feel like we at least got some explanation of like, okay, the spirits in the things going on in the house are these spirits that are like pissed or whatever. Like we found out, so the same thing happens to Mr. What's their name? I already forgot.
Ramos.
Harmon?
Ramos.
What?
Ramos.
Oh, those guys.
Miguel, where he is sleepwalking and he goes down and he plays with fire, and then we find out that we see that ghost like appear, and it's like a charred lady, and she's just pissed that she was charred, so she's making other people. She's trying to burn other people. So we got some explanation that the stuff is going on because of these spirits. And then I said Adelaide tells a new family that they're gonna die, and we didn't see Adelaide.
No.
So a twofer.
Tours?
Yeah.
Not bad, though. Not bad. Everyone did great besides Joe.
Yeah, I don't feel good about it, but like I might just turn the strain back on instead, and or there's Dexter's just got announced that's being rebooted on Showtime for a limited
Really?
See that, yeah.
a limited like 10 ep series.
Why? I mean, it did end dumb. So
Yeah, so stay tuned.
he should have died.
when
He
we
should have
do-
died. I'll accept. I'll think this is going to be a great 10 episodes of Dexter if at the end of these 10 he finally dies.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, that'll be good. We should probably watch that when it finishes.
Yeah.
It'll a reprieve. Cool. Well, that's it then. I guess that's American Horror Story Murder House. I'm curious. I'm kind of curious to see what they did in season 8 then, to see how they brought it back, or if they actually tied it in, if Wikipedia's lying to us or not. But
The apocalypse season.
yeah, apocalypse season. So I'm curious about that, but we'll see if I get to it. More to come. Updates in a future episode. We'll see you guys next week for the final Spooky Month episode, which will come out, I think, on the 28th of October. That's my pick. So if you want to make show suggestions or potentially help me out on that, you can hit us up at F&L Podcast on the Gmail or on the Twitters. Let us know what you want us to watch. We will listen. And subscribe and 5 stars. That's pretty much all we got. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Stay spooky.
I was just thinking that's weird.
Which part's weird?